Hello everybody. Hey, I got a video that I've been trying to get to for a while, and I want to apologize to there's a few people that were interested in this, and my wife's been in South Dakota for the last 6 weeks taking care of her mom's estate, and then I had to run out there, so I'm way behind on this, and I do apologize. I'm going to show you how to get the motor mount screws out of a 144001, and man, it's like they didn't ever intend for those things to be taken out. So a lot of guys were tearing the screws up, having to drill them out, chisel them out, use ease outs on them. There is a way to take them out without tearing the screws up. I don't put the factory screws back in it. I'll go over that in the video. So I want to wrap the intro up, and let's just go ahead and get started. We're going to rip this thing apart here real quick and see if we can change the motor mounts out. Electric is much faster. The biggest problem that you have working with these cars is using the correct size screwdriver. You have to pull the rear. Maybe you don't have to, but it's easier if you pull the rear battery tray out. Then you can slide the motor forward. When you get it forward, you get past the bearing. You don't have to take this out, you can. But if you slide the motor forward, you get it past the bearing on the drive shaft, and then it comes out pretty easy. You can rotate it. Now, these are the screws that everybody's having a problem with. This car, just for clarification, this is the one I'm going to convert to brushless. So, but these motor mount screws are the ones that everybody is having a problem with, as far as I know. And the biggest thing is to find a screwdriver that actually fits these. Now, the problem I have is I don't have any screwdriver bit that actually fits these. And I've got this set here with lots and lots of bits. All of those bits, I have this and this and this and this and this, and none of these have a bit that properly fits those screws. So what I'm going to try to do is heat those up, and they're Loctited in. I'm going to heat those up with a soldering iron and see if they will come out. So we'll move this. I don't have a soldering iron down here, so we'll move this to another location. Okay, my first obstacle is going to be trying to do this around the camera, because I want you guys to see it. Now, actually the first obstacle is the set screw, grub screw, whatever you want to call it, wherever you are. It had so much Loctite in it that I couldn't get the Allen wrench in it. So I put some acetone down in there, let it soak for a little bit, and we'll see if I can get the Allen wrench in there now. Man, it's hard to work around this camera. Okay, the wrench fits. Yeah, there we go. And that is a 1/16 inch. I don't know why. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little heat on that with the heat gun. I don't know how loud this is going to be. And I want to say I've got this in the vise just so it makes it easier for me to get a little leverage on it. The motor mount is wider than the motor, so I'm not squeezing on the motor. Okay, that indeed did work. Now I'll have to let that cool down just a minute so I can touch it. These are the two screws that everybody's having the bulk of the problem with. This screwdriver fits better than any of the rest of them I have, but I'm putting a lot of torque on that, and I don't want to damage it. So I've got this soldering iron. I'm going to put the heat directly on that screw. I really want to get these out without a drill press. Okay, that worked. Yep, come out real easy that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to put these back in there because these screws are very soft, and without the proper screwdriver or applying heat, you're going to rip them apart. So I'll go back downstairs and I'll show you what's going to go back in there. Okay, we got a couple of things I want to hit on here real quick. This is the battery out of my GPS, and that's the little connector that I ripped off. So I'll get this going again pretty soon. The other thing I wanted to touch on, these are the battery monitors that I was showing you before, and I thought I should probably clarify something. This is the way they come, and I ripped the cover off of mine, so hopefully it would have less glare and stuff, then would be able to see it easier. But the instructions and stuff are on the back of these, and it is shrink wrapped. I don't know if you can see, got a little heat shrink covering over it. I took mine off just because I thought it was easier to see. We're going to go and look at the screw choices, and if you want to stay with the black iron, you can do that. I think these are 8mm. I've got them in black iron and in stainless. So this one, let me zoom in just a wee bit. This is the one that came in the car. And as you see, by heating it up, I didn't destroy the screw, but I know from destroying a couple of them that they're very soft. And this is what I'm going to put back in there. And they're 8mm, it's an M3x8. So that's what's going back into the thing when I put the car back together. I left the pinion gear soaking in acetone because they used so much Loctite on it that once it cooled off, the Allen wrench didn't work anymore. And like I said, it's a 1/16 inch. I think that's the only thing on the whole car that is an SAE. And of course, these being metric, they're going to use a metric wrench. I think it's a 1.5. Let me just double check. No, must be a 2. Yep, that's 2mm. So that's what's going back in the car. for the motor support. So anyway, I owed this to one of my viewers, and I wanted to be sure and get that out. I've had some personal things going on, and it took me a long time to get to it, but there you go. You can get those out. If you take the motor out of the car, you can get those out without destroying them, but you need to put some heat on them. You can use a torch, you can use a heat gun. My soldering iron wouldn't get hot enough. So if you've got a heavier duty soldering iron than I had, applying heat directly to the screws might work. A small torch, if you've got a pinpoint torch, I don't think a cigarette lighter, you know, your standard type cigarette lighter, but one that actually puts out a blue flame, probably would get it hot enough to do the same thing. So a little bit of heat and those will come out. I would not reuse these. These, in my opinion, I don't know what the deal is with these, but they're very soft. And if you don't have even with the right screwdriver, those things are Loctited in so tight that they're not going to come out of there. I don't know what these guys use for Loctite, horse snot or something, I don't know, but I soaked this thing for 30 minutes in acetone, and I still had to put heat on it off the car to get the screw to turn. Now, once I got it out, I soaked the threads with acetone and then ran the screw back through a couple of times, and it goes in and out easy now. So it's not red Loctite, it's not blue Loctite, it's yellow-ish. So I don't know if they're using 3M glue or what they're using, but anyway, heat does soften that stuff up, whatever it is. Thanks to everybody that's still here. I realize that this is a bit tedious. Some of the new guys, that's who this is for, and they don't really know what they're doing. So I'm just trying to help people out. Anyway, if you made it to this part, I appreciate it. I want to thank all my subscribers. Anybody that has a question or comment or whatever, put it down there in the comments. I'll get to it as quick as I can. And you don't have to be a subscriber to ask me a question. And if I can answer it, I'll do my best. And if I don't know, I'll try to find somebody that does. So thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. Sorry for the long video for taking out 2 screws, but I felt I needed to cover it in a little more detail than I normally would. Anyway, thanks, everybody. I appreciate it.